Today I'm very excited and pleased that we have the guest that we do is to start off, and a very good friend and somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and somebody, if you've been watching, know has been on the show before, and so Ramshaw with the Vineyards and their California Armenian home.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you again. So
nice to be here.
So you have some exciting news. I know we've been kind of watching this process for a while.
Literally, yes, watching it being built.
Yeah.
So the Vineyards, I'm just going to back up for any of the viewers who might not be familiar with the Vineyards. Mm-hmm. The Vineyards is the expansion of the California Armenian home. The California Armenian home has been serving families and seniors 65 years.
Yeah.
Located on Kings Canyon, which used to be a long drive if you had to drive all the way out Kings Canyon.
Yeah.
Now you just hop on the 180, head east, get off on Temperance, and boom, you're there. I can go from Fig Gardens to work in 16 minutes.
Really?
I drive fast though, so but it's a great location, and we're really excited about the project. Mm-hmm. Greg, as you know, the California Armenian home has enjoyed a 5-star rating for skilled nursing during the life of the business. But the founding fathers had a vision for the Armenian seniors and for non-Armenian seniors in the valley to have a safe place for care at all levels. So about 4 years ago, our board of directors of the California Armenian home unanimously decided this is the time we are going to build the Vineyards. We just came up with the name recently. So we now have the full continuum of care.
Yeah.
We have the independent villas, we have independent and assisted apartment homes, dedicated memory care, the existing skilled nursing, all in one campus. So we have a 40-acre campus. The garden space is gorgeous. We have the water features, and when the trellis is in full bloom with the jasmine in springtime, it's magical. That's when I started, was in springtime. All the boys associate that smell of the jasmine and the sound of the breeze and the water features.
There you go.
There's something called environmental psychology, and this is not news to us or any of you. When we're outside surrounded by the natural beauty and the green space, and we look up at the sky, it helps us. It reduces our stress. It helps our cognitive ability.
Sure. We're
actually going to make our brains a little bit sharper and smarter when we go out and really enjoy the fresh air. So having that green space, the walkways, the pathways for people just to ambulate safely, it's good for all of us. It's good for the families that are coming to visit, because sometimes we visit our loved ones, it's not always joyful because we're worried about them and they're not feeling good. And so if we can just make it a little bit more pleasant, or a lot more pleasant, by offering beauty surrounding the great care but beautiful space also, we're really being of service to the residents and the families.
I think you're right, and I mean it's nice now, but I've seen some of the pictures. I think you brought some to
We brought a few pictures.
share.
So
they're amazing.
I think so. So this is actually a photo of the front side of the building, a little bit to the south, but you can see that beautiful stonework. Our main building is 3 stories there in the center. So we have the independent living on the 1st and 3rd story. We do have some balconies and patios available. 2nd story, it's unique. It's all going to be assisted living. So when you walk into the main doorway, right just to the right, there's an elevator that'll whisk our folks up to the 2nd story. So if they're using wheelchairs or walkers, they're not having to wait in line for the elevator. They have their own personal elevator. You can see more stonework. The colors for the paint are just gorgeous. It's kind of a Santa Barbara feel as far as the colors. Queering is the builder, and they've done just a beautiful job on keeping on point with the building, and they are celebrating 70 years themselves, the Queering Corporation, and they've become quite specialized with like the medical and senior living of recent years, and so they've been able to apply what they've learned from other buildings to our building, and so we're really like the latest and greatest as far as low profile flooring, wider doorways, great lighting, crown molding, granite countertops. So it's function and form at its finest.
You know, and I was looking at it last night. I really didn't realize how immense this project is.
Yes.
You know, so you have a dedicated memory care, which
Right,
is
36 beds.
36,
And
okay.
it's a circular building, well, square, but in the center there's a courtyard. So our residents who have maybe are exit seekers or are at risk of
Sure.
wandering, they can come outside and get that environmental psychology boost also.
There you go.
Look at the blue sky, but be safe. And they still get the granite countertops and all the beauty also.
So then as far as independent options,
Independent options.
roughly how many would you say?
So we have 12 villas, and
Okay.
when I say villas, they are 1,300 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, side-by-side washer and dryers, full-size appliances, beautiful little gated backyard area with
Wow.
the simulated turf.
Okay.
And we are pet friendly, so it's perfect if
Okay.
someone is still driving, still has a little pet that wants to run out back, but would like to have the freedom of not having to do the shopping and the cooking and the
Sure.
cleanup and the laundry and all those honeydews
We
that
could all
happen.
go for that. Geez,
You have to be over 60. And after that, it's month-to-month private pay. I guess that's something I want to circle back to. With that full continuum of care, we are an RCFE. We're a residential care facility for the elderly. So it's a residential model, but we are a CCRC, so a continuing care.
I want to just interrupt you real
Sure.
quick because that's for maybe people don't realize this, but it's not very common, is it?
No.
And especially here in the valley, right?
It's very unique that we
So-
have those designations. What's even more unique, and I don't want to get into the money too much and make this into a big commercial, I really want to stress the information. We don't have a buy-in. We don't have a big deposit. Right now I'm putting together it's a priority reservation list. It's $1,000, 100% refundable, and that deposit goes towards the first month's rent.
Seriously, wow.
Yeah, so it's really the freedom of being able
it's a
to
no
think
lose.
about it. It is.
Yeah.
And if you're at the top of the list, you're going to be able to say, I want to face east, and I want to be on the third floor, and I want a balcony, and I want it at this price point.
There you go.
So it's really fun for me.
Wow.
Being in this industry and having represented some wonderful communities in the past, I too am able to bring best practices into what we're doing now, and being able to offer that to the families that come to visit us. It's such a treat because I'm spreading the good news. It's like the gospel of senior living at its finest, and it's
You're
really
an
a
evangelist
joy.
for good news, yeah, senior services, that's for sure. But
Well.
I just want to mention briefly, if I can, I know from a family standpoint, when you're caring for a loved one and you make the difficult decision for a lot of people to move into, say, an assisted living community, to not have to move again, regardless of the level of care, to me that's
It's huge.
that's huge. And folks, there's just not a lot of those opportunities, especially in the valley. But to be able to have that and to know that we know there's a big psychological impact when people move. If they're suffering with dementia or anything like that, and so not to have to subject them to that, and to know that the surroundings are going to be very familiar. They're always going to be safe and secure. I'm really excited for the Armenian Home to put this together because I don't think just anybody could do it.
Right.
First off, and they have a great track record, and I've had lots of clients there through the years, and very happy with that. So, well, that's exciting. I was looking at some of the things that the bar and the bistro, the cafe dining, and
the internet cafe,
creative arts. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff's like, good grief, man.
all the bells and whistles that are
So,
coming with and that's what's so nice for the consumer, because there is the silver tsunami of baby boomers that's hitting the industry. Consumers, you can educate yourself and go out and look at the different communities and see which personality fits yours, what your priorities are, and is it in the neighborhood? We want to be, as we get older, I think we want to still have fun. We want to
You
be
bet.
ourselves. We still want to have celebrations. And you said something just now about the California Armenian Home. Not anyone could do this, and that's true. I mean, those founding fathers, they had the heart for service 65 years ago,
Yeah.
and there is still that heart for service,
Yeah.
but the love of celebration is still there too. And one of the reasons they wanted to have the continuum of care is recognizing that sometimes there's a couple where one spouse might need memory care and the other is completely independent.
Well, that's a good
And so
point.
family, like on Christmas, is going to the house, and then they have to run over here, and This way they can be in the same park-like setting. Family can get together. We can have the celebration and not feel like everyone's spending half of a holiday in the car driving from place to place.
Yeah. Well,
and then the
that's a good
day-to-day
point.
interaction also.
So you guys got your own post office, library, theater, beauty salon, all kinds of things, fitness. It's amazing what's going to happen there. So
The fun we are going to have. It's yes. Right now, our office is in the sales trailer. It's in a construction trailer. It's a nice construction trailer though. But I miss the interaction with my residents. You know, once residents move in, they become like neighbors.
Sure.
And the relationships that we get to enjoy and see, the peer-to-peer relationships that are so magical, and then the multi-generational relationships where the young kids working in communities, they get to have these great conversations with our former military and really get to understand what American history is all about.
Sure.
That type of interaction and conversation is
Yeah.
and it's unique to this industry, and that's why I guess I am an evangelist when it comes to senior living.
There you go. So how do
And
we?
so are
I
you.
guess it's on the screen. Thank you. How do we get a hold of you? And
So my name is Ren. You can reach me at 559-899-9200. We are available by appointment 7 days a week, and I'm always available to answer questions and curiosities as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man.
You're very
I'm
welcome.
So we're pretty close to getting keys.
Keys to the castle, yes, we are. I don't have a specific date yet, but they have been working on target, and we are
Awesome.
looking forward to doing those dusty boot tours soon. But again, if someone is at all interested, I would recommend getting on the priority reservation list.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's 100%
Yeah.
refundable.
It's a
and
no-lose
yeah.
situation. So
It is.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So give me a
folks,
call. Love to talk
Give
with
Ren
you.
a call and check it out, because I'll tell you what, it's going to be, if not the premier, one of the premier places and communities where you can just really settle down and enjoy some things. And so we're going to be back in just a few minutes. This is Truth for Seniors, and Ren, thank you so much. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Greg.
And we're back with Truth for Seniors. I'm Greg Steen, and we're joined right now by a very good friend and somebody that I wanted to bring on because of her vast knowledge and experience, but also the way that she just takes care of people and provides a lot of good, helpful information. And that's a good friend, Ren Ramshaw, and she's currently representing California Armenian Home and the Vineyards, right?
That is correct.
So, good to
Hello.
see
Nice
you.
to see you, Greg.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
One of the things that we've had people ask us about, and it does actually come across in emails and questions with clients, is how in the world do you even get started with, mom is declining and we don't really know if we can take care of her at home. And so, gosh, there's these big facilities that are going up, and there's, they look like hotels, and there's residential care, and maybe, what's the difference, and how do we know which ones are going to be the right level of care, and also maybe how do we pay for them, and so, but I'll bet you have all those answers.
I do, right here. But the first thing,
So-
those are all, that's great questions. And when people come into our office, oftentimes they're starting out at a time where we need these answers and we need them
Yesterday.
now. Yeah, because grandma fell, she's in the hospital, she's getting discharged Friday night at 6 o'clock, and she can't go home.
Yeah.
So are we getting
point.
in-home care? Are we going to find a 6-bed little bed and board. Are we going to go to a big RCFE and it's like a cruise ship on land?
Sure.
We've heard little bits and pieces, but we've never really wrapped our brain around it. And for those of us who have been in the industry locally, it's really nice that we are all open to providing information, because what's a good fit for one family might not be the right choice for another family. And so being able to respect the fact that each situation is different and it's not stagnant, it will change. This too shall change. And
That's a good point.
And right now we might be able to say, you know, grandma's fine at home right now, but we know that there are going to be some decisions that need to be made. So empowering ourselves, asking those questions ahead of time, that would be something that I would just really encourage the viewers. If there's anyone in your life, if it's yourself looking for answers, start now, start doing the research now, and talk to people in the industry that have been in the industry for a while and can offer that. I've heard this very wise man earlier say, if you're an expert in something, stay in that. You know, stay in your lane. Share what you're an expert in.
There you go.
And I think you said that. And it's true though. So there's this alphabet soup in the industry. You know, IL, AL. What's a SNF? So independent living versus assisted living. What does that even mean?
Yeah, let's talk about
So
that.
if that's okay, I'll just share a little overview. An RCFE is a residential care facility for the elderly. So that would be the Vineyards, Fairwinds, Orchard Park, the Wyndham, Kingston Bay, Brookdale. There's a lot of RCFEs in town. Some are big, some are smaller. They all offer assisted living, though, typically. Month-to-month rent, inclusive. So it is like a cruise ship on land.
There you go. Yeah.
So typically, according to the state of California, for assisted living, we would provide the unfurnished apartment, all of the meals, activities, transportation, assistance with activities of daily living.
Okay.
All of that would be included. So that's assisted living. There's also independent living, where everything is included as far as the house cleaning, linen service, meals, but not activities of daily living. So the big difference between IL and AL comes down to the activities of daily living, medication management, getting into the shower, getting in and out of a wheelchair, being able to groom and get to the back of your hair, getting dressed. So that would be ADLs. So assisted living, you need help. Independent, you don't. But the big package is all inclusive, no matter what level you're at.
Sure, yeah.
Then there's memory care, and age-related memory loss starts out when we're 40. So I hope that's reassuring for all of us.
Geez, you didn't
So
have to go there.
it's okay. It's all age-related memory loss, and it's
I probably won't remember that. In 10
exactly.
minutes, but,
There you go. That's why we write things down. So having dedicated memory care is really an important idea. Also, if someone has been diagnosed with moderate dementia or Alzheimer's, if they're on the path there. A lot of times with assisted living, we can do prompting and reminders, and that's different than full-on dedicated memory care. Skilled nursing, a SNF, SNF, skilled nursing means that nursing care is available. So if someone is a brittle diabetic and they need to have insulin injections, that would be fall under skilled nursing. Or if someone has a hip replacement or an injury where they need real nursing care, that would be skilled nursing. At the Vineyards, we have the full continuum of care, which is lovely because that full continuum of care, independent, assisted, memory care, skilled nursing, it's not a one-way trajectory. It can be someone who's completely independent, living in a villa, enjoying life. They decide, you know what, doctor says I need shoulder surgery. They go in for the surgery, into the hospital, into rehab. They can stay right there, go back into skilled nursing, do the rehab, and come back to their independent status. Same campus.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about levels of care, don't think of it as a negative. I really encourage people to just think like we all are going to need some TLC. Being 60 is going to look a lot different than being 106. And the care that we are going to need is going to be different. And finding a place that can offer all those levels of care is important. So do your research, figure out what your budget is. RCFEs are private pay. Most of them do work with the aid and attendance with the VA and also with long-term care insurance. So if those are options for a family, check into those also.
Yeah. So custodial care
Mm-hmm.
usually is referred to when you're in skilled nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Same as long-term, same as skilled nursing, or is that a little different? Or
I don't use that term as much.
I know it's not really thrown around too much,
Yeah.
but I know there's different levels of assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems like people tend to go in at this level, and then after a while they're maybe assessed and they realize that they probably would like or could use a little bit extra
Mm-hmm.
care here or there. And so, but the memory care isn't offered by everybody, is it?
That's correct. And it has to do with the type of staffing and training.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the meal program is different. The security level is different. So it isn't just about the reminders. It's really about creating a loving, safe environment where we enter into that resident's world. It's not our job to remind them and pull them out.
Yeah.
We're going to go right where they are. If they're waiting for the bus so the family can come pick them up, we're going to build a bus stop.
Yeah.
So they can hang out there and feel comfortable.
Sure.
And sometimes, we might not recognize who people are when we have memory loss, but we know how those people make us feel. And
That's a good point. Yeah.
mhm. And there's actually, at the Vineyards, we're going to be working with a couple other organizations to bring about Alive Inside. It's this wonderful film about how music can
Yeah,
reach
that's
through.
huge.
It's wonderful in that whole music therapy. So
Yeah.
more information will be coming on that.
I've seen that. It's amazing. It's
And I've
absolutely
utilized
amazing.
it we did a screening of Alive Inside in another community, and some of the family members who were in attendance donated money so that we were actually able to give it to the activities. We purchased the little iPods.
Really?
Remember those old-fashioned iPods? They still work for people.
Wow.
And I had one gentleman who he just wasn't feeling it, being in the community setting, and he had a traumatic brain injury. And when we would put country music into his ears and into his memory,
wow.
he was,
Wow.
tapping his foot and snapping his
Seriously.
fingers, and it transformed him. So I've seen it work. Music
Yeah.
is transformative.
Music is huge.
Mhm.
It really is. Yeah, folks. That's awesome. You know what? I I think that's really helpful. One of the questions that we get a lot is, when do I know it's time to move mom? People when things are going good, we all tend to say things that sometimes we look back and say, why did I say that? But we'll make promises like, oh, Mom, I'll never move you, or we'll leave, make sure you're cared for at home, and people want to be cared for. But my experience has been that generally that's not our decision to make, because a medical episode will occur, and then a physician after therapy will say, we can't continue in this process. We got to go over here and get a higher level of care. But what's your thoughts on that, Wes? We just got a couple minutes left. When should people really be looking at understanding when the right time is to move, and maybe how to go about that?
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Or people will come in and the senior will say, I'm just not ready. And I'll ask, what does ready look like to you? Does ready look like you fall down, break your hip, you're laying there for 8 hours, and you have to make a decision? Or does it mean I'm ready to have freedom to get up and have coffee with my girlfriends and go down to Zumba class, or I'm going to sleep in and do room service? I'm going to have freedoms. I'm ready to take on true retirement living and be supported, and know that if something happens at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't have to call my kids. I can push a button and have
There you
someone
go.
come and help me.
Yeah.
So being ready is something that really can come from the resident, the potential resident, when they recognize, what does it really mean to live in a community? But if it's something like memory issues, if your loved one, if you check out the refrigerator and there's a lot of excess spoiled food, if they're missing appointments, if they're masking and repeating the same thing over and over, trying to put on the happy face, but you're
Sure.
knowing that
Yeah.
they're closing the door and they're isolating, and that's not a way to live.
Yeah.
Having peer-to-peer relationships is it's essential for all
Oh,
of us.
absolutely.
No matter when you sit down with your guy
Teenage.
friends,
Yeah.
heck yeah, we all become
Yeah.
like high school again. We start listening to the same
Yeah.
music. It's fun.
There you go.
So, and again, no matter whatever age, and I do home visits, and a lot of
Do you? Okay.
yeah, and I know that our LVN will do that as well. So for assessments, and there's also the physician's report. So that's something that the primary physician can help a family with, and
Okay.
go through that and see.
So then it would in my opinion, if I'm hearing you right, there would never be, it wouldn't ever be a bad time to call you and get an assessment, right?
Right.
Even if it's not quite the right time, you probably get a lot of education.
We can have a conversation. Start the conversation.
Okay.
You got to start somewhere, and don't wait till it's a time of crisis and panic, because you're probably going to make a decision that might not be perfect at
And
times of stress.
Folks, this is just being real. Most people do make decisions in crisis because we wait too long. But none of us, if we really had the time, would say, I make my best decisions in crisis. We just don't.
Speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, well, me too. So, it's not the time to do that. So, this has been really great. I appreciate it, and I think it's very helpful information. And look forward to having you on again.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Good luck with the Vineyards.
Thank you. I'm excited to be part of the team. And if anyone has curiosities about senior living as a whole or the Vineyards specifically, please feel free to give us a call.
Absolutely. So, and where can they reach you real quick?
559-899-9200.
Awesome. Well, Ren, thank you again.
Thank you, Greg.
And folks, will be right back with Ron Killian with Killian Insurance and talking about the VA benefits and some of the myths and facts that are out there, and going to clear the air for you. So we'll be right back.